Not only is that the reason why a lot of women won't get married in today's time, the men that are providing everything for these women that you see that many women are envious of started off dating a man just like that. If you take it to the immigrant level, my father was a cab driver. Before that, he was a pizza delivery driver. I ate pizza for 2 years straight. I took the ham and pineapples off of Hawaiian pizza and put it on bread to make a sandwich. My mother was married to that man. All right. This is how immigrants start with nothing. That woman didn't think he wasn't enough for her. She understood his work ethic, his character, who he's going to make himself to be. And it's the fact that women don't want to start with men at humble. They say it's struggle love, humble beginnings that we have the issues we have today.
You've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Ayanla, to how women need to, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if
a bus
he owns
driver?
the bus? If he owns
No.
it. If he owns the bus,
See, that's a
Ayanla.
problem. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Okay.
Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus.
Would y'all date a bus driver? It's just an icebreaker.
Depends on how old I am. Am I younger?
Why does age matter?
It matters because I think at a certain age, I take that back. I'm assuming, I really don't know how much bus drivers make, but I'm assuming that it's not a lot. So I don't even think it's in like where we would say the average would make. I think it would be below average. So if I'm younger, I think I would be open to that just because I know everybody's at a point in which they're going to start to build. I'm okay with that. Or if I was very old and at retirement age and he's doing that, for, a little extra income. But in that mid-range, I don't think I could.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I would not. So I don't have any children yet. And I think for me, I would like the opportunity to, at least for the younger years, be able to stay at home. And that type of income is not sustainable for that. So for me, in terms of lifestyle and building, it just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense.
I
Would you
agree.
date- So everybody is a collective. You wouldn't date a bus driver. But did you guys hear that some of the things that Ayana, her name is Ayana said about but in her defense though, Ayana is older, so she's kind of like what Mistaken was saying. In her older, if I were a little older, I may date a bus driver. So that the reporter was kind of younger. So why do you think that people look down on women when they say they don't want to date a bus driver? Sorry.
Is it time for the men to interject?
Oh, would you date a bus driver? Would you date a bus driver? I mean, women drive buses too.
There are a lot of
Well,
bus drivers, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's simple for a man, right? We already told you this isn't we're not gonna die on this hill. This isn't our thing. I mean, like literally, once you fall in love with the woman, we don't mean it in the way that we say we don't care what she does or what she brings in. It's like once you're in love with her, it's the last thing that matters. what she does. Just like Ianla said, is this a woman of integrity? Will she write it out? And then men are we're a little different. We understand that she's likely not going to be doing this for the entirety of her life. So basically, what I want to say on this is that not only is that the reason why a lot of women won't get married in today's time, the men that are providing everything for these women that you see that many women are envious of started off dating a man just like that. If you take it to the immigrant level, my father was a cab driver. Before that, he was a pizza delivery driver. I ate pizza for 2 years straight. I took the ham and pineapples off of Hawaiian pizza and put it on bread to make a sandwich. My mother was married to that man. All right. This is how immigrants start with nothing. That woman didn't think he wasn't enough for her. She understood his work ethic, his character, who he's going to make himself to be. And it's the fact that women don't want to start with men at humble. They say it's struggle love, humble beginnings that we have the issues we have today. Unfortunately, think about how long it takes for a man to make himself into somebody who can buy you a house, who can do all of that stuff for any man in history. And we make more than our grandfathers and grandfathers did. For any man in history, it's 30s and 40s. My parents bought their first house at 40 years old, right? They own that house now. They're going to leave it to me. It's already been taken care of, right? They sacrifice to build a legacy so their children can have better. And I think that's what too many modern women are unwilling to do.
So let me ask you a question. I think that too, the visual, I mean, if I would assume they would make the same thing as a UPS driver, right?
No, they make way
No.
less. UPS
They make less. Oh, and the reason why I asked that, because then I look at the physique of, because sometimes in UPS drivers, you be like, you need to get a Gatorade? You thirsty? I'm just saying. So sometimes the bus driver don't look as like the UPS driver. Like when you get in your head, and I'm pretty sure that's for men too. How many men have seen that woman who's the bus driver? And you're like, man, that bus driver.
Oh yeah,
That's a nice looking bus driver.
well, bus driver might be a bad example because I don't think I've met too many young bus drivers. When
and I think it's the same for women. We feel the same way.
That's like when you can make so much money in Amazon, UPS, FedEx. So like that's why I'm like they'll probably drive. Younger people will probably drive for those companies, but yeah.
But to Mike, oh no, go ahead, Inaz. No, I saw.
Oh, I'm sorry, and I do have to say that my father. I'm not gonna say was. My father's made millions in his life. That pizza delivery driver ended up becoming a strip club entrepreneur, then an honest Nigerian businessman. We own several dealerships, a shipping company, and a water factory in Nigeria. So all that from a lowly old cab driver.
So, like, I hear you, Trigger Mike, and I don't disagree with you, but I think age, like to what Mistaken was saying, age is a huge factor in that, right? So, and you don't have to answer this, but I'm going to assume your parents got married fairly young.
25.
So, fairly young, right? Like maybe not super young, but like they weren't
about middle,
right? And I think that makes a huge difference, right? I'm past that age category, so for me, there needs to be a little bit more established, right? And I think when we're taking a look at the numbers, because the reporter did talk about statistics in that video, people aren't getting married until older. That's men and women alike, right? And so if there isn't anything established, I think that's just adding an additional factor, right? Like if you're in your mid 30s and you haven't really progressed in your career past what you were in your mid 20s, that makes it challenging too, right? And so when we're talking about somebody like a bus driver, like what have you done in the past 10 years? We hear all the time men talk about, looking at pattern of behavior when it comes to vetting men. That's a pattern of behavior that there hasn't been too much progression in the last 10 years.
I also go ahead. I'm sorry, I've talked enough. Go ahead.
Oh no. So I don't know the older lady's name in the video. She was very clear. If he's a man of integrity, if he treats you right, if he treats his mama right, he doesn't qualify for you because you make a salary that, like, because of what he makes. That's insane to me, and that's why so many, in my opinion, so many people aren't getting married, because they have these ridiculous standards, and integrity and love and treating you right and being able to provide, because depending on he could be making the 39, or he could be making the 44, he could be making as little as 32 from what I just saw. um isn't enough. It just isn't enough. So your lifestyle is what you're saying. He doesn't qualify for me because of my lifestyle, even though he's a good man. So these guys don't have a chance. That's insane to me. Somebody needs to drive a bus. Furthermore, he has a CDL. So yeah, he might be driving a bus. Maybe he's saving money to drive a truck. Like you, but you're gonna disqualify him because he's driving a bus. Maybe he loves driving a bus. Maybe he just loves driving a bus. So maybe he's driving the school bus in the mornings, and maybe he's driving the city bus in the afternoon. But you're gonna disqualify him because he's a bus driver. That's insane. That's like disqualifying the garbage man. That's like disqualifying somebody that works in the septic system. Like you're just going to disqualify him because of his profession that he chose, because you're not in that phase of, you're in a different phase of life. He doesn't, he's not ambitious enough for you. That's, I don't understand that.